Hello and welcome to WMLT News. I'm Bailey Gillespie.
And I'm Jared Klein. A joyous celebration turned sour Monday when 16 people were trampled during a religious festival in northern India. It took place in a religious community called an ashram 100 miles north of New Delhi. Thousands were gathered to celebrate the 100th birthday of the ashram founder. Of the 16 who died, 14 were women. Stampedes at such events in India are really common due to the large crowds gathering in narrow, congested areas. Earlier this year, a stampede near a religious temple killed 100 people in southern India.
In Mississippi, they are voting to change the laws on abortion. The amendment to the state constitution is now going to define the beginning of life as the moment of conception. If this amendment passes, it would make it impossible to get an abortion in the state, as well as hamper the ability to get some forms of birth control. This would define a fertilized egg as a person with legal rights. Due to this, women would not have access to things such as the morning after pill or birth control pills that destroy fertilized eggs. In vitro fertilization treatments would also become more difficult because it would allow unused fertilized eggs to be disposed of. Some believe that this amendment would give the state too much control over women's reproductive rights. A fundraiser to benefit children in Athens was held at Pipestem at Brandon's Barbecue. Besides having a good steak, WMLT's Chris Allen found out more about the event.
The Concord Child Development Center is always in need of supplies.
We're a nonprofit organization, and there's always a need for materials, art supplies, those type of things for the children. And so we usually try to do fundraisers to help purchase tricycles, anything that we might need. So this is a fundraiser to support those needs.
Brandon White owns Brandon's Restaurant in Pipeston. His children also attend the development center. When he heard the center hosts 2 fundraisers a year, he offered to help out.
Well, we're doing 20% of our total sales for the night are going to the Concord, and hopefully that'll help them out get some new stuff for them.
While most of the customers were there to support the Child Development Center, some found the fundraiser by surprise.
I do have children that go to preschool, so I know the importance of centers that are good and take care of the children and provide good care. So that's important.
The Child Development Center raised about $300.
So that was a good turnout, I thought, and that was a good amount for just showing up and eating and enjoying the food. So yeah, we were very pleased.
Sargent says the center will host another fundraiser in the spring. For WMLT News, I'm Chris Allen in Pipestem.
Now with Concord Sports, here's Brett Dodrell.
Thanks, guys. It's been a wild week in sports, both here at CU and on a national level. Concord football moved 1 game closer to a WEVIAC championship on Saturday, defeating 2-time defending champion West Liberty, on the back of 6 turnovers forced by the Lions. They were able to top the Hilltoppers 32-29. Senior linebacker Ethan Perry set the tone early with an intercepted pitch that was returned for a touchdown. Following that game changer, the Lions forced 4 more interceptions and 1 fumble, 2 of which were returned for touchdowns. Quarterback Zach Grossi had another lean but efficient day throwing the ball, completing 13 of 21 passes for 138 yards and 1 interception. The Concord rushing game was held in check, only gaining a net of 87 yards. Concord will host West Virginia Wesleyan here at home this Saturday for the WEVIAC Conference Championship. A Mountain Lions win will give Concord its first football conference championship since 1990. The Concord University Athletic Department has designated the Concord football game this Saturday as Military Appreciation Day and Championship Camo Day. Concord Athletic Director Kevin Garrett has announced that all military personnel, both active and retired, will get free admission to Saturday's game with a valid military ID. Concord fans are encouraged to wear camouflage to the game to acknowledge the service of our nation's soldiers. Kickoff is scheduled for 1 o'clock. The Concord University women's volleyball team finished their regular season on Saturday, falling to Fairmont State by a score of 3-1. The WEVIAC tournament begins this week, and Concord will get their chance at revenge as they play Fairmont State in the first round, with the stakes much higher than the regular season finale. The winner of that game will go on to play Alderson Broaddus College in the quarterfinals. In national sporting news, the highly anticipated matchup of LSU and Alabama went to overtime, with poor special teams execution by Alabama being their undoing. The Tigers of LSU won the game by a shocking final score of 9-6, following 3 missed field goals by Alabama kickers Cade Foster and Jeremy Shelley. LSU is now the consensus number 1 heading into the final stretch of the season, with Oklahoma State following closely behind. That's it for today's sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
2 boys in New York have been charged with assault after throwing a shopping cart off the 4th floor East Harlem walkway, injuring 47-year-old Marion Hedges. The 2 boys said that they were unaware that anyone was below them as they threw the car over the edge. The boys were turned in by a 14-year-old friend who had attempted to stop them. Both of the guilty boys were turned over to the Administration for Children's Services after a family court hearing where they were charged with assault in the 1st degree. Hedges was unconscious and in the intensive care unit at Harlem Hospital. Hedges' husband stated that his wife will be, in the best of cases, in rehabilitation for months. Stay tuned. We'll return with more WMLT News in just a moment. Welcome back to WMLT News. West Virginia may be adopting a new anti-bullying policy in its schools. The new 75-page proposal by the Department of Education would enumerate 12 possible reasons for a child to be bullied. For the first time, sexual orientation and gender identity-based discrimination is also included in the 12 reasons. Punishment under the new policy would range from an after-school detention to a suspension from schools for up to 10 days. The new law also goes beyond the classroom, aiming to protect students on social media websites such as Facebook and Twitter. The civil rights group Fairness West Virginia has applauded the cause, calling it a landmark achievement. The new law will be considered on December 14th. If approved, the law is going into effect on July 1st of 2012. Tonight, the Fayette County K-9 unit will be featured on Country Justice, a new show on Animal Planet. The sheriff's deputies and their 4-legged partners will be featured showing off their skills in locating illicit drugs, tracking down missing persons, and apprehending fugitives. The K-9s and their handlers have participated in numerous investigations, including arson and homicide, as well as helping officers locate illegal drugs. They have also played key roles in apprehending numerous fugitives and have located several lost individuals. The K-9 go through refresher training frequently every year with their handlers. Sheriff Steve Kessler explained that the Fayette County K-9 Department could not have reached its current level of performance without the support and assistance of the public. You can catch the show at 10 p.m.
The freshman 15 has now turned into the freshman 3. New studies have shown that for the first-year students at colleges and universities are only gaining a bit more than 3 pounds during their first 2 semesters in school. The first mentioning of the freshman 15 was in 1989 in 17 magazine, which started the boom in the idea of the freshman 15. Campus newspapers obsess over how students can avoid the dramatic weight gain. At the University of Texas, they confirm that college is not a factor in young adults' weight gain, but that those who hold jobs instead of going to school also gained about the same weight. They have found that the key to keeping off the freshman 15 is to stay away from excessive alcohol intake as well as food and drinks.
West Virginia University's Bureau of Business and Economic Research predicted a slight growth in the West Virginia economy between the years of 2011 to 2016. The report was issued as part of the 18th Annual West Virginia Economic Outlook Conference in Charleston. This expected growth is dependent on the assumption that the national economy does not fall into another recession. According to the report also predicted that mining and natural resource job growth will significantly decrease over this time period. Coal production is expected to fall from 138 million tons in 2011 to 125 million in 2016. West Virginia's overall job rate is expected to increase by 1% per year, below the national rate of 1.6%. Here now with this week's Ticket or Leave It is Jay Wharton.
Back in 2007, Paranormal Activity shocked the world with its first showing of a family being tormented by a supposed entity inside of their house. But if you like being scared, then Paranormal Activity 3 is not the movie to go see. It's filmed from point of view and has about 20 minutes of actual action, and the rest of it is how the family reacts to the occurrences happening to them. Katie and Christy from the previous Paranormal Activities are now being shown as children who are trying to make sense of what is happening in their house that they just moved into. Their mother just refuses to believe the children and Dennis, her husband, about the weird and creepy things happening in the house until she witnesses it for herself. But by then, it may be too late. With all the weird happenings going on around the family, they must be ready for anything. Paranormal Activity should have been finished after the first one, or even the second, but they just had to make a third one, which opened on October 21st, 2011. It scared off its competition by grossing over $54 million its first weekend out. Movie experts had claimed that it would only reach to about $45 million. Guess they proved them wrong. It topped its predecessors by about $14 to $15 million, making it the best Paranormal Activity movie money-wise. That's all for this week's Ticket or Leave It. Back to you at the desk.
Synthetic marijuana has appeared to cause heart problems in teenagers. Doctors reported Monday of 3 Texas teenagers who suffered heart attacks after smoking K2. These boys were otherwise healthy and showed no signs of cardiovascular problems, yet shortly after smoking K2, they reported chest pains. These drugs have become popular among illicit drugs because they do not show up on toxicology screens. Efforts are being made to make sales and possession of K2 illegal, yet new forms of synthetic drugs could already be in circulation. The use of these products are dangerous and unpredictable due to the lack of information on the origins of these compounds.
That's all for this week's WMLT News from Concord University. Tune in again in 2 weeks. Have a good day.